So everybody, we go back to our themes that for many of us, the demands have been the perfect parent, the perfect worker, the perfect spouse, the perfect friend, the helpful neighbor, the beyond all of us, the beyond all of us. We can only give our best with what we have. So when Sheila operated from an empty glass, she had nothing to give. And the learning for Sheila was to learn to keep my glass full and let the children, the parents, the neighbors, whoever drain it and continue to replenish it. Okay, so the question I want to ask you is, how do you feel? And are your reserves used up? And if you're not your best self, address it. And really what most people want from you more than anything else is for you to take care of yourself, rather than come in and give everybody the leftovers of you. And my experience was that the more I learned to love myself a little more, I take better care of myself, then I was a better mum. I was a better partner. I was a better friend. I was a better worker. Happy people are productive people. Stress means that more and more is actually ultimately less and less. And ultimately, I want to say that I don't know if anybody resonated with my story, but I feel that everybody has a little 5-year-old inside them. And maybe the question is, if you look back and said, what was it you needed a little more of? Because that's probably what you need to offer yourself today. And it's for me to say that I have no doubt that if you're here in front of me and I heard your story, I have no doubt I'd say we're heroes in what we survive, and you deserve the time. You're worth the time. Who you are is enough. And the task is simply to unfold to what was always there. A little toddler who knew that they were good enough. And that's why the work you're doing is so important, everybody. The work you're doing is so important because the toddler has a sense of, I can do anything. I am enough. Look at me. I'm gorgeous. And what happens? So, the work you're doing cannot be overestimated. So I really hope that you take care of yourself in order for you to take care of the child, the parent, and all the other things in your life. Nobody deserves it more. And my own experience is that if you do a little bit at a time, love yourself a little bit more every day, you will find that your life will blossom. So just before I let you go, I want to tune in and ask people, what are you taking away in a sentence or a word? Sarah.
I suppose just to remember to, like you were saying, be calm and stay within the hula hoop.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you. Attendees, I'd love everybody to pop in a word or a sentence that you're taking away. I'd love to have had you on the call. I'd love to see all the faces or whatever. Breathe. Hit your pause button. Put yourself in the diary. Hello. I can't say that enough. When I started to put time in the diary for me, whether it was 5 minutes or an hour, I guarantee you it was a life changer. And it was then and only then that I was able to make time for other people. Instead of saying to a child, I have no time for you. Yes, because I've given no time to myself. So learning to say no, and no is a full sentence. Pleasing yourself, saying to yourself, I am of worth. My work is not my work, my worth. And asking how you feel and what do you need. Lovely, Fidelma, love that. Thank you. Valerie, a word, a sentence?
I think if you don't mind yourself, how can you mind anybody else?
That's it. Catherine?
I'm looking at the wonderful comments and words in the chat, Sheila. They're amazing. I'm going to promise myself that this weekend I'm going to make some time for myself.
And when we say make, let's be clear on it, Catherine. It's not going to happen unless you open the diary and you put yourself in the diary. I guarantee you that's the only way that you're proving and saying, and then if somebody wants that time, you say, no, I'm available before, I'm available afterwards, but I'm not available at that time because, sorry, folks, I'm doing this for me. And you'll all be glad in the long run because I'm going to come in smiling and happy. I'm going to be a much nicer version of myself. Emer.
For me, it's about connection, you know, connecting with yourself, connecting with others, and the importance of that to be able to mind yourself and to be that version you want, you know. So
That's
yeah,
it.
connection.
Thank you. The importance of connection cannot be overestimated. Every morning, I have a practice. One, I think of 3 things I'm grateful for because that makes you happy. And that's very simple. And it's often the small things, like it was the dew on a plant that I saw out in the garden this morning as I walked around having a tea. But the importance of connection is that I drop in and I ask, how do I feel? And my body will tell me, I feel tired today, or I feel great, or I need exercise, or I need to do those back exercises, whatever it is. And you just listen, say, thank you. So you should actually check in and ask your body, how does it feel? Ask your emotions, how do you feel? What do you need? And that might sound odd, but inevitably it's around showing kindness and care towards yourself. And when you do that for yourself, you automatically will mirror that out to everybody else. And this is what we want. Amy?
Yeah, I think for me, just taking time to myself and making sure that you put that time aside to focus on yourself.
Yeah, Amy, you had a great contribution and we didn't actually cover it, so I'm going to say it. Amy is working and studying, and I really like what she said when she said, I'm going for laptop to another laptop or whatever. And she recognized it was awful, and she probably wasn't very productive either because we're not when we're overworking. And she said she learned that by actually taking a break, taking herself out away from the laptop to do something that she enjoyed meant that she came back and she was much more productive. Because there's no point being at a laptop, everybody. Been busy, but actually been unproductive. What we know for sure is that happy people are productive people. So actually invest in your happiness. You know, that's what I really want to say here today. Invest in your happiness. And don't forget what I said earlier, because it's ultimately what I want to say most of all. It's to say nobody disrespects you unless you allow them to. So treat yourself in a way where you respect yourself. Respect your time. Put boundaries around your availability. Set limits to intrusions in your life. You know, boundaries around the workday, boundaries around time, a date night with the partner, 8 minutes of one-on-one time with the child makes the child feel loved, valued, and secure. They're all boundaries. So as far as you can, go in and show respect to yourself. And the more that you respect yourself, this is my experience, the more I respect other people. And I sort of stopped shouting. And then I realized that actually they were only shouting because they needed to shout to be heard. So it's kind of like a game changer for everybody. Taking care of you is the best thing, not just for you, but for everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you're taking away the importance of self-care. The most important thing we can do is to take care of ourselves. Like the hula hoop, setting limits around ourselves, around our time, around our energy. And then the next one is about that when people have a challenging behavior, what do they need? They need kindness, they need compassion. And that kindness and compassion is more easy to give if I've given it first to myself. And the communication piece is very simple. Never personalize. Why? Because 100% of what the other person says is in fact about them and what's going on for them. So when you have a parent who's defensive, go off and say, oh, that was very difficult. I need to be kind to myself. I'm going to have 2 biscuits and a cup of coffee. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Sheila.
you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, and look after yourselves. That's number 1. Bye-bye now.